Jesus, I need to shave. Hang on, I can't. I look like a 50-year-old Chinese man. That is a lot better. I haven't not shaved for a few days, and yeah, that's unsanitary, but you know, whatever. Anyway, it's your boy CJ here, back into the video. I hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty well-ish myself anyways. It's quarantine again, so yeah, you know, stay at home and stuff like that. Anyway, so today we're going to be looking at the Nanlite FS-300. It's the Nanlite 300 watt series non-battery powered LED light, which I have here right here. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's a big boy. As you can see here, it's quite a big boy. I'm not sure if you can see it correctly, but anyway, the screen's inverted. But yeah, that's what it looks like. Oh, can you see it? Yep. Yeah. So this is the FS-300 LED light. This is of course one of Nanlite's flagship lights, which is because number one, it's 300 watt, and it's this the FS series, meaning the highest wattage possible. FS series basically indicates that they cannot be powered by battery. They are a single power cord powered LED light, which is perfect if you're using for studios usage, of course. So yeah, in my opinion, this is by far the perfect light if we're talking about price to performance ratio. We'll get into a little bit more why I say so. Anyways, so yeah, so right off the bat, let's take a look at the light itself. So first things first, we can see that it has two clamping knobs right here, where you can, you know, tighten and adjust the arms itself, which is a great thing because I prefer dual knobs like this. Although some of you might say that, you know, it's fussy, you know, you have to adjust both at once. But in my opinion, that just makes it more secure, because since sometimes you're gonna be putting on quite some heavy soft boxes like the aperture soft boxes. I'm not quite sure what's the name is, kind of forgot, sorry. But yeah, those are quite heavy boys, especially when the bigger they are, they get heavier, and depending on the material they're made from, they can get quite hefty over time. Of course, these dual clamps are absolutely the greatest. And furthermore, if you can actually notice on the side here, there's a little umbrella slot whereby you can, you know, put your umbrella in. Really great thing, really great feature in my opinion, because I don't see that very often with high-end lights. My experience with the VL300 from Godox, I have not seen a mount for umbrella. I might be wrong, however, I've not seen it so far, so that might be a little bit something for Godox to actually consider getting themselves. I will check it out. I have it right here, but I will check it out later on whether or not it has umbrella. If it does, I'll put it up here saying that it does have umbrella mount. But yeah, really convenient at the left side of the light right here. Really convenient, really nice spot to put at. Most manufacturers, I noticed, they put always at the bottom mount where you mount your tripod or C-stand. Not really good, because sometimes when you poke it outwards, it's not centered. Basically, it's not centered. Whereas if you put it right next to the light on the left side or the right side, it's perfectly centered once it's set up, which is you know, one of the great things. All right, moving on, we have a huge knob here for the mounting system. Great feature, because most of the time you will notice that they like to come up with the mini little knobs. This is, by the way, this is considered big for me. This is really ergonomic. I can feel it. I know which direction I'm pushing it. I know which direction to twist to open or which direction to twist to close. Great feature. And this thing right here, huge knob with textures on it. Not texture, basically you know, carvings on it, so you can actually hold it more ergonomically. And it's huge. Really great feature, by the way. So you can really tighten it down in case you want to have it as an overhead light or something like that. So that's something for you to consider on. And of course, let's talk about the gigantic handle at the back here. This is really good, by the way. I know several other manufacturers, they do produce big handles like this, but in my opinion, I find that this handle right here it's at a perfect spot. That's just my opinion. I find it a perfect spot for me to tilt up and down, and it's big enough and it feels solid enough for me to actually be a little bit more aggressive with it. So yeah. All right, moving on, let's talk about what's inside this thing right here. So right off the bat, I can see from the top there's and the bottom there are mesh located all over. These are like, I think, aluminum mesh or something. It's some kind of metal material meshing on it, but definitely inside we can spot a huge heat sinks on it. Not very common inside lights like this. Normally you have a smaller heat sink and multiple fans, but in this case it has a huge heat sink where you can see from the top, and from the bottom you can see a huge fan. I believe it's a 140 millimeters or 120, it's somewhere there. So yeah, that's something very convenient. And behind it, I think like 1/3 of the portion behind it, I believe it would be the power supply stuff and stuff like that. We'll get to that in a bit. So yeah, top and bottom mesh covers, great for cooling, great for airflow. So that's something for you guys to take note of. Of course, furthermore, let's take a look at the back. You know what, before we move on to the back, because the back has a lot of stuff, I want to talk about that last. Let's go to the front. So we have here is a standard cover right off the box. You get a standard cover right here. Of course, let's open up the cover. Really a good thing, because sometimes they don't give covers, which is kind of a drag. All right, so first things first, I noticed is that this light out here in the front element is protruded outwards from the shells, which is, you can see very obvious right here, is protruded. And of course, you would actually notice that the LED itself is not one piece, or more like they don't have a cover like most like Godox and other company manufacturer they do. They don't really have a cover in front, like an acrylic cover in front of the LEDs, just to, you know, provide protection. But in this case, they do not have it. In fact, they have it. I can actually touch on them, and they are like separated into, I don't know, a couple, I think 100 LEDs here. I would say that this may be for convenience and cost saving, considering the price. I will talk about price later on, but I would say that if this is for maintenance, I can see why, because in case like one particular LED just, you know, burn out or fuse out, they only need to swap out that particular one instead of the entire unit. All right, let's now talk about the backside. I find the backside here is a little bit interesting compared to other manufacturers. First things first, you're gonna see an LED display for you to understand your groupings, your settings, and of course multiple other functions. And furthermore, there's a small USB-A slot. Sorry, not USB-C. It's a USB-A slot for in case you guys want to update the light itself. And yes, there's software updates for these lights, and you might want to take a look out on Nanlite's website. I will link it down below for you guys to check it out. But yeah, this is a really incredible thing, because I don't really notice like Godox with their FS-300. I don't think they can update their lights in terms of software wise or firmware wise. So yeah, that's something to take note of. And furthermore, you can see there are two knobs behind here, one with a blue center and another one is completely black. I would say that during my testing, the difference between these two is that the left side here, the one with the blue center, they are smooth to turn around, whereas on the right side, which is the all blacks, there are actually steps on it. There are bumps along the way, so you guys can turn to a specific channel, and hence since I already spoken to it, the left side here mostly I noticed is to control the power, which is how many percentage of power you want the light to be powering on right now, which is from 0 to 100%. And of course on the right side is mostly for your settings, your groupings, your channels, your functions, your different lighting modes. And yes, there are multiple lighting modes. We will talk about that later on, because this is a great light and there is so much to cover. Furthermore, down here you have your slot, power AC slot in, and of course on the right side there's a power button. And of course, something interesting that I don't notice on other higher end LED lights, which is a fuse. If you open them up, you can actually just change out the fuse. Most of the time when it comes to light, most of the time it's the fuse that burn out before the LEDs themselves do. So it's very functional for Nanlite, for them, either for their engineers to actually just swap out the fuse very easily because it's right behind here, or for you to actually to just unplug the fuse. I'm not sure why you would do that. Some people would argue with me saying they know what they want to do with that, but I wouldn't know how to do it, what to do with that. I'm not an electrician by any means at all. I'm just a humble photographer and videographer doing some reviews of the stuff I love. Anyway, so yeah, this light here is rated at 300 watts, of course, and of course it is at daylight, which is 5600 Kelvin. In my opinion, it's the perfect light white balance for for any light whatsoever. So yeah, moving on, we're going to be talking about what type of light modes it have. And my god, I tell you, this light has a lot of light mode, which is great. All right, let's get into it. All right, the first light function we have, of course, is the constant lighting. It's a standard for all light it comes with. If it doesn't have that, it means your light is faulty. Send it back to your manufacturer. Anyway, first special function it has is the interval loop, where you can set the maximum brightness and of course the minimum brightness depending on how much you want it to be. Next we have, of course, flash. Next up we have is pulse. And of course, next we have the storm. Next is TV, paparazzi, candle or fire, bad bulb, fireworks, explosion, and last but not least, welding. Now these little functions here are great because that means that your light can be used to light up all types of scenes and the background lighting, for example. These are great. All right, you don't need the real life props. I know people that when they want to have like fire effects, they have to be lighting fires in the background, which is a fire hazard. And of course, if they want to have flash effect, they have to turn on and off the lights. Bad thing, by the way, you're gonna blow out your fuse if you do that, and reduce the longevity of your lights. Really not a good thing to have. Of course, next up, of course, we're talking about like explosion, fireworks, bad bulbs. These kind of functions, I would say that they are very useful depending on the type of film or movie you're trying to present, of course. So these are the functions that you will not normally see on your typical light, and for the price, let me tell you, this is the best part about this light. The current retail market pricing for this thing right now is 1,499 ringgit Malaysia. That's right, you heard me correctly, 1,499 ringgit Malaysia for a 300 watt light. You hear me? 300 watt. You don't get that price anywhere else. As far as I know, is that Aperture and Godox, they have 300 watt lights. However, theirs are more to they are able to use for battery powers, which I would say that it's probably where the higher cost comes from. As far as I remember last time when my friend bought their VL-300, they bought about 3,000 ringgit, give or take, somewhere there, and the Aperture 300D was about 4,000 ringgit Malaysia, which is really expensive pricing. Not many people will be able to afford that, especially when they want to have a 300 watt light, which is, I would say that for you guys to shoot 120 FPS, you definitely need it. Or perhaps you want to shoot outdoors, 300 watt is definitely a need just to counterbalance the sun or even overcoming the sun, depending on how you like your situation. But yeah, these are the little things to keep in mind. And like I said, the price for the performance is amazing. And so far I've tested out, if I compare it with the Godox VL-300, I would say this is the more accurate light, in my personal opinion anyway. It might be different depending on your softbox and other your surroundings and stuff like that. These are the things you have to take in consideration. But out of the box, in my personal testing, I would say that this Nanlite right here, if you are going for budget and you want a 300 watt light, you should definitely get this guy right here, because this is a really value for money item. Because 1,500 ringgit for 300 watt, dude, come on. The only sad thing is it doesn't have battery power, which is a sad. You can get the Forza series, but however, then the pricing will be about the same with the VL-300 from Godox. So you might have to take that in consideration, which one you like it better. I would say that where they cut costs in in this case, I would say that they don't have battery power, which is obvious enough. And of course, the front cover shelling for the LEDs. I don't know what's up with that, but I might be wrong. They have their ways of cutting costs, I'm not sure. And of course, compared to the VL-300, which have 2 fans, this one only has 1. And of course, the noise level is noticeably higher in comparison to others. I will have an in-depth comparison video between the VL-300 and this guy right here. However, for now, this is all I got for you. Anyway, I hope you guys like this video so much. If you guys like this video, you guys can help me out so much by like and subscribe, hit the notification bell button, and share this video out with your friends in case that they are looking for higher power watt light for cheaper pricing, of course. Of course, if there's anything or questions you guys have, or you want to have a conversation with me, do drop a comment down below. I will definitely go and check it out. I always check out my comments. I always reply to every single one of them as best that I can. Anyway, it's your boy CJ, and I'll see you guys next video. Out.